Have you been wondering how to use this beautiful paper from Echo Park's Telling Our Story? This paper came in the Bloom kit from MercyTiara Kits, and if you need ideas on how to use it, I have one coming right up for you in this process video. Hello and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. I'm Tracy, also known as MercyTiara, and I make scrapbooking process videos and more here on my channel. Today I am working on a page using the Bloom kit from MercyTiara Kits. And as usual, I am familiarizing myself with what I have left of this kit before I get started. You saw me taking a look at some number stamps because I do plan to use some number stamps on this one. And at this point, I keep referring to the sketch that's up there in the top right-hand corner because at this point, I think I'm going to follow it, but I end up not at all following it. So that's just something that evolves as we go. This layout tells the story of our Lost Rewatch group, which is something I'm hosting for my tiaras over on Patreon. We have weekly discussions over on Zoom to discuss that week's episodes, and it's a really fun part of my week, so I wanted to document it. I am starting by titling this one, which is a little bit different for me. I usually do the title last or one of the last things, but we've named ourselves the Dharma Darlings, and because for some of us it's our first watch, and for many of us it's not. So some of us don't even know why we're called Dharma Darlings yet, but that will come along in the next couple of weeks. I have my title here. It's an alliterative title here, Dharma Darlings Discuss, and it also has a little bit of a play on spelling as well. At first, I was going to try to do something with the coloring of the letters, but I ended up deciding to randomize those letters, so I just did a few switcheroos there to make it look balanced and random. Now, the photo that I have, the problem with it is that not everybody was present for our meeting that time, and so I am purposely leaving some blanks. There are some blank spaces in between us, and some of us are kind of far apart in where our cameras are, and that leaves me space to be able to go back on a future meeting and take another screenshot and then print it up at the same size and cut and paste so that in some of those gaps there will be little people from another meeting. Or maybe I might, if everybody is at that other meeting, maybe I'll just take another screenshot and replace this one. But I just wanted to get this layout done and in my book. So for now, we're just going with what we have here. Now, as you can see, I have printed up photos of all of our favorite season 1 Lost characters plus Shannon, and we are just cutting these out, and I'm cutting them so that they fit in some of these frames. So we have Charlie and Hurley there on the beach, so I made sure that that one fit in one of the more rectangular, wider frames because it has 2 people. And then some of them I'm cutting into rectangles and circles based on both the size of the photo and how it's going to frame up in either a portrait or square or circular fashion. So once I have all of these lined up, what I'm doing is because these frames have a real doodly casual look to them, I'm deciding to leave a little bit of white showing in all of the photos. So you'll notice that they're not framed up exactly to look like it's a frame. Rather, it looks like I've cut and pieced these into the frames, which is something that I really like this look. It makes it look nice and casual, and it also keeps me from having to fuss with cutting these exactly perfectly so that the photo lines right up with the edging of the frame. So that's just a little tip for making this go a little bit easier, is to just, I just want to make sure that there's some white on all of the different photos so that there's not one that fits perfectly and then the other ones don't. Here I am adding Shannon the last minute, deciding that I guess she should make it onto the page, even though she's quite insufferable and nobody's favorite. It was at first my idea was to just use our very favorite top 3 or so, but there's so many frames, I thought, and there's so many wonderful characters that it's hard to pick our favorites. So we just went with everybody who is a main-ish character on the show. So we have some layers coming together here. And as you can see, I have clustered all of those photos to be in the center part of this strip of paper. I've trimmed it down so that it It doesn't take up the whole layout size. And I'm going to use this craft paper that came in the kit as it came in the cardstock add-on. And I'm playing around with the different options here. I know I want to use some strips here around this chunk of paper, this horizontal strip that runs down the middle-ish part of the page. So I'm going to start by framing it out with this pink patterned paper. I'm also going to outline it. I'm just outlining the bottom and the top lines here. And I did go back over it with a thicker pen so that I get a more bold outline look. And I think that holds up to the busyness of the pattern paper a little bit better than the narrow lines of outlining did at first. I love this sky paper, and it really does remind me of Lost. There are so many scenes that show the ocean and the sky in the show, so I wanted to use that paper. And then this paper here actually reminds me of Charlie's sneakers. He wears those Vans. They're black and white. Charlie's version are black and white, but you can get those sneakers in pink and white too. So that paper really is a bit of a call out to Charlie Pace. And here I am, I've put my title onto wax paper. I keep a roll in my scrap room for this very reason. And I just pull half of it back and then put my letters in place. As you can see, they do still need a little bit of finessing after that, but it is a pretty quick way to get your letters in almost the right place. And then with these chipboard letters, they're very forgiving. So you can always just lift them up and scooch them around. I'm adding a couple of memorable quotes to the empty frames. So I put, "Don't tell me what I can't do," "Hey Freckles," "You all, everybody," "Peanut butter." I put the numbers in one of them. "We're not the only ones on this island," and "Live together, die alone." Those are all the phrases that I put. Those were the memorable ones from season 1, because that's where we're at. In our rewatch, we just watched the finale, which is one of the best episodes in television. And now we have to watch the season 2 first episode, which is my very favorite episode of anything ever. So we're very excited to be moving along into season 2. I finished this up by stamping the numbers with the hazel alphabet stamp from Ellie's studio and called this one done. You'll see some photos in a second, but first I just wanted to give a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. These folks help make this channel happen, so big thanks to all of them. Patrons get early ad-free access to all of my process videos and real-time unedited versions of my videos, as well as a monthly live stream, which ends up usually being weekly, actually. So thank you so much to them, and thanks to you also for watching my videos. I really, really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this one, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And this is how this one looks. I love the distressing on those edges that I didn't mention when I was describing my process, but it really does add quite a bit. Here are some of the places that you can find me on social media, and you can find our kits over at MercyTiaraKits.com. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a really great scrappy week, and I'll see you next time.